Rio. They're sick of being teased about their leotards and they want to compete topless because then if we see how cut they are, we'll stop laughing and start drooling.
I've always wanted to do the project like that, to be honest, but
You don't want people to stop laughing, though.
I want them to drool. They can laugh and drool at the same time.
Cash that cheque. Let's do it right now. Come on.
They're vomiting in the control room. I should stop. No, but I think it's a good idea for the gymnasts. You know, there's a lot of fellas in our office who are very keen for this to happen. A lot of girls as well.
Yeah, but I watch it very intently, and I was watching it all morning. I don't think they need to lose more lycra for me to get the point. Like I can, no, you can see.
I always wondered what that even does. What is that for, the top bit?
Well, and I think that's as tradition, but you can see their muscles. Have you looked? They're there.
I find the leotard a tad distracting, I'll be honest.
I think we should go back to the Greek Olympics.
Top off if you want.
You can if you want. I'll be doing that tonight.
I'm sure that's a census question.
Is your top on? Everyone is excited, particularly the good folk at the ABS, because Census Night doesn't come around every week.
Well, I'm very excited because Census Night only comes around every 5 years, and everyone at the ABS is also very excited. They've been working for this night for at least 5 years.
Statistically, he's bang on. Well done.
Speaking of the census, we touched on it last week, but tonight, as millions of people fill out the census, there are more and more very important people who are flat out refusing to do so.
It's Census Night, but you knew that, right?
No, I didn't. I do now.
If you don't complete the census, you could be fined $180 a day. But a bunch of people, including Senators Nick Xenophon, Scott Ludlam and Sarah Hanson-Young, along with former New South Wales Deputy Privacy Commissioner Anna Johnston, are risking that fine and even prosecution by refusing to supply their name and address. So what's their deal? Previously, names were destroyed after processing, unless, like 60% of people, you agreed to have it archived in a time capsule for 99 years. But now the government will keep everyone's identifying info for 4 years and allow it to be linked to medical, criminal and educational records.
Unlike any other census, all names will be turned into a code that ultimately can be used to identify you.
Lack of consultation is a the government with that much info. Of course we can. Just ask this guy from the government.
The privacy provisions that they have in place here in Belconnen, here at their headquarters, are absolutely sacrosanct, are absolutely so that they will not be breached. I need to make sure that is made quite clear to people.
Crystal. Senator Scott Ludlam says he won't be providing his name tonight, although we've just told you what it is. So there, he joins us now. Scott, people will be sitting at home right now thinking about filling it out. Are you suggesting they shouldn't complete the census?
No, we use the census every day. It's an extraordinarily valuable archive. I'm saying for my own self that I won't be providing my name or address on the census, partly because of this really important change that the ABS undertook to make to the way that the census is conducted last year. That they've then kind of been ducking for cover, haven't explained why they're doing it or what the risks are. So I will be completing the census. It'd be a bit hypocritical not to, because we use it in policy making for our homelessness work, for example. But the key issue for me is going to be around the unique digital identifier that's going to come with name and address from now on.
But Senator, what's the expression, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear, or whatever they say? I mean, surely the government's got all your info anyway.
No, not all in one place. And I don't think we should kind of cave in and concede defeat. I heard Edward Snowden say at a speech that he Skyped into Melbourne last year, it's like saying everybody's got stuff that is private, and that's actually a really important and fundamental human right. And this is just one piece of the puzzle, obviously the census, kind of up into the past, which is the reason it's been so useful since 1911, is that it's an anonymous statistical aggregate. It's a statistical snapshot of the state of the country every 5 years. What the ABS is proposing to do actually converts it into something quite different, and that's the public debate that should have been happening months ago, certainly not just on census night. And I just think let's have the debate out in the open about how this material is going to get used. And certainly what we're asking is for the ABS not to fine people if they fill the census out honestly but leave their name off, which is what I'm intending on doing, that they shouldn't be coming after people and prosecuting them. I suspect it's going to be large numbers of people.
Scott, thank you very much for your time.
You're going to put your name on it?
I haven't actually thought about it, to be honst. I'm going to do it. I've got a date with my wife. We're going to sit down and do a census. But I don't know if we're going to do top off. Sweetie, that might be new news to you. It's breaking news. Make sure the kids are in bed. This is going weird. But I'm not sure. Are you going to put your name on it?
Yeah. Are you not?
I don't actually. I never get to fill it out because my wife is so into the census.
Right,
Would she put your name on it?
She probably will.
I might put my alias on it.
I just figure in terms of... all anyway. Anything they want to me, they're going to get. So I'm not
There's a point there about it all being in one place, and it's the ABS that's collecting it. It's not
Only
like the
4
tax
years.
I've
department.
got nothing to hide. I do believe in that. Nothing to hide, nothing to fear.
But then why don't you install a webcam in your room and just broadcast it to the...
You're assuming I don't.
Well, yes.
I'll tell you where the webcam needs to be tonight. It needs to be down that end of the desk.
Please. Seeing the magic mic tonight. So the ABS are doing their best to drum up some enthusiasm for census night, but I'm not sure if the minister responsible for the census, Michael McCormack, absolutely nailed that brief here.
Tonight, get on board. It's an exciting time. Never been a more exciting time with all the gold medals we're winning in Rio, but it's an exciting time to be able to fill that census information in. Only takes 20 minutes, and look, they're pretty mundane questions.
It's party time. These are 20 minutes you will not get back.
All right, we're going to take a break. See you on the other side.
Coming up, Snoop Dogg's teamed up with Martha Stewart for a new cooking show. What the hell? And speaking of unlikely dog stories, 9 months, 3 countries and a lot of money later, Nicole and Darren finally reunite with the pup they rescued on their honeymoon in Thailand.
There's a lot of nights just really in tears, just not knowing what to do, desperate.
You're watching The Project. Welcome back to Project. Peter.
Thanks, Elaine. As all-rounder Mitch Marsh knows how to fix it.
I think the guys, as a batting group, we'll either have to change our batting, our plans, or just find a way to do it for longer in these conditions.
What was your plan and what will it be?
My plan won't change too much.
My plan's fine. It's 10 other blokes are struggling.
Now, it was the Thai honeymoon with a twist. The Australian newlyweds who found a dying puppy on the side of the road and dropped everything to save his life. 9 months, 3 countries and $25,000 later, they've finally been able to bring Ozzy home.
Nicole Marchment and Darren Boudini are animal lovers to the max. Instead of chilling by their pool on their honeymoon in Thailand, they lent a hand at an elephant sanctuary and fed stray dogs.
You've already had to eat. I'm not even hungry.
But even they were taken aback by just how much this funny-looking puppy stole their hearts.
He was by the side of the road, clearly in distress. He couldn't walk properly. He was screaming and he looked very ill, like we thought at that time that he might be dying.
They cancelled their honeymoon plans and embarked on a mammoth journey to save the pup's life.
He'd been hit by a scooter about a week ago and had been left there, so we took him straight away. Found that the vet on the island couldn't help due to lack of equipment, and so we caught a cab 6 hours to Pattaya and sought medical help.
The dog they named Ozzy had a broken leg, nerve damage, his skin was
We see someone that needs help or something that needs help, we help.
Things got much worse before they got better. 2 months in a tiny cage in Thailand left the pooch with severe mange.
There was a lot of nights just really in tears, just not knowing what to do, desperate.
Animals can't be brought into Australia directly from Thailand because of the risk of rabies. So Ozzy needed to spend 7 months in a halfway home, somewhere like America or the UK, where he could have a series of tests and vaccinations. Ozzy's story had spread via social media to America, and it caught the eye of dog lover Jeff Mazanet.
They needed someone to come to Thailand and bring Ozzy to America. I said I got nothing better to do, I'd like to help.
And so began Ozzy's incredible transformation under the care of Jeff and his parents.
Had some really low lows and some really high highs. He had so many different problems, and to see him go from the depths of almost dying to where he's at now, it's just been a really big journey.
After 7 months in Chicago, it was almost time for the reunion. The final hurdle, 10 days in Australian quarantine. Jeff even flew over to join Nicole and Darren on the big day.
Here it comes. Hi, darling. Hi, Papa. Hi. Hello. Hi, little darling. Oh, He's so healthy. He looks amazing. We're so happy just to have him home.
Crowdfunding.
There's no doubt we couldn't have done it without hundreds of people chipping in thousands of dollars to save his life. And that's all we set out to do, was save his life.
Now, Darren and Nicole have started a charity to help other dogs just like him in developing countries.
You know, Ozzy's one dog, he's one little guy. He's super special, but he's one dog.
And they have absolutely no regrets about their honeymoon with a difference.
Unbelievable, really. It's a mini miracle that this has happened, so we're very thankful.
Long time coming.
It's a long time coming, yeah.
Some people are just so remarkable. And to think, you know, the journey of that little dog, you know, from Australia, Thailand, the United States. And how's that guy, Jeff, just flying from Chicago, I'll go and pick up the dog and take it home with me, to look after it, to then give it to someone. It's just beautiful.
And apparently Ozzy's been to more countries now than Darren. Like, it's incredible.
All right, stick around. Lots more of the project coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching The Project. Some more news now as Hillary Clinton pushes ahead of Donald Trump in the polls. He's finally unveiled his economic policies, promising massive tax cuts for business.
Under my plan, no American company will pay more
to vote for him because they believe he would be the most reckless president in American history. And in a bid to make sure her boyfriend behaves on holiday with his mates, an Edinburgh woman's drawn up a boys' trip rule book. Almost all of her 10 rules revolve around staying away from the opposite sex. He's also been instructed to keep his phone on and steer clear of tattoos. Is that him there?
I think it is, yeah.
He's enjoying himself?
Yeah.
At least he's not talking to any chicks. Can I say, they don't make sense.
No, they do. I think they're brilliant.
No, hang on. Don't talk to any other girls.
Yeah.
Rule number 2. Rule number 10, tell every girl about me.
I love the one that says, cheat and I'll make your life a living hell.
I love that she's thought things through, like make sure your phone is charged, because that's one of the most irritating things when you're trying to contact someone.
right.
But do not follow girls on social media, because I didn't know that one. That's what a lot of guys, they don't follow you back because they're like, oh, my girlfriend might see them following you. And I didn't know that you look in people's follows and then you can find out who you... So that's just something that I was...
doing that. She's very specific, though. She's got, if on a boat party, no drinking games with the opposite sex.
It's very colourful. It's like a rainbow of distrust, isn't it?
Is it the 10 pen that gives it away for you? Is it at that point you go, I'm not getting involved
It's
here?
one of the most comprehensive U10 projects I've ever seen in my life. That is...
And her sign-off, have a nice flight, stay safe.
He might be cancelling his flight on the way home, I reckon.
Time to see what else is making news around the globe.
The Taliban and ISIL have both claimed responsibility for to mourn a prominent lawyer who'd just been murdered on his way to court. Authorities are trying to figure out how to move a 17,000-tonne oil rig that's run aground off the coast of Scotland. No one was on board when it was hit by bad weather and washed ashore. It was being towed from Norway to Malta. It's now being monitored to ensure its stockpile of 280,000 litres of diesel fuel doesn't leak. And TV cooking shows will never be the same again. Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg are teaming up for a new unscripted reality program where they'll host weekly dinner parties for celebrity guests. Snoop's no stranger to Martha's kitchen. He reckons he and his homegirl are going to have a great time.
Martha? Oh yeah, she's smoking in the kitchen. And she can cook too.
Our new show is Rizzle, Dizzle, for Shizzle.
How awesome!
Yeah, I think Martha's specialty is desserts, I'm told, and Snoop uses herbs, more herbs.
You'd watch that though, wouldn't you?
I'd watch it. I don't understand it. Like I do, I agree. That
It's
will
like a
get
dinner
viewers.
party.
Yeah, but Snoop and Martha, I mean, they're
That's what's
so.
crazy about
I
it.
know.
So what does this mean? Does this mean that rappers have gone soft? Or the cooking shows have gone
No,
hard?
you know, she's been in prison. Like Martha's gone hard.
So
That's
she's
such a
yeah,
combo.
right.
Imagine the stories.
Yeah. Do you think they'll tell them?
Totally. Once
Okay.
they've had those herbs, they'll be...
Just hearing that Jay-Z's joining MasterChef next year as well.
It's going to be incredible.
It's better than...
That'll be great. All right, we're going to go to a break. We will see you very soon. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up are names like Rainbow, Dolphin and Kim Yonsei just setting up your kids for a tough time in life. And the New South Wales greyhound industry has vowed to clean up its act if given one last chance. But is it too little, too late? This is The Project.
Welcome back. This is The Project.
If you have just joined us, here's what's making news this Tuesday, the 9th of August. And a Hobart teenager who killed a 24-year-old pregnant mother while joyriding has been jailed for at least 2.5 years. Sarah Payno's family was in court for the 16-year-old sentencing. He'd run a red light, smashing into her car. Doctors were able to save her unborn child. Her 2-year-old son also survived the crash. As millions of Aussies sit down tonight to fill out the census, some people are still waiting for their forms to arrive. To make matters worse, national helplines have gone down. Several senators are also refusing to put their names to it because of privacy concerns. Scott Ludlam's told The Project the Bureau of Stats has gone too far.
And certainly what we're asking is for the ABS not to fine people. If they fill the census out honestly but leave their name off, which is what I'm intending on doing, that they shouldn't be coming after people and prosecuting them.
Australia sits third on the medal tally in Rio with a total of 4 gold medals after a historic victory by our women's rugby 7 squad. They won the event's inaugural Olympic gold medal, the first Aussie team gold since 2000. Vegan makeover. Animal rights group PETA is lobbying the local council to change the name to Apple and Cherry Bay. They say the alternative name is kinder, healthier and more fitting for the Apple Isle.
No, I like protecting history, and it has been that for 2 centuries since Lady Franklin, the governor's wife, ate egg and bacon there at the Bay 2 centuries ago. I do know a lot about this. I like to protect that heritage, and PETA do a wonderful job. But think about the repercussions if they were able to make these changes. Then sugar-free people, they're going to get rid of Wedding Cake Island.
Wedding Cake Island?
Yeah, in Sydney. So you see, there are repercussions to this. We can't we can't change historical sites or bays that are named after food because other foodies will get involved and they'll change
just become the ambassador for Egg and Bacon Bay. You realise that?
What if we just made wedding cake sugar-free? That would solve the problem.
Well, that'd be boring.
Oh,
and it wouldn't taste very good.
Yeah, I hadn't thought that through. had I?
Egg and bacon bay is what I also call my lap during breakfast time as well.
It's a whole day.
It's a whole day. I use a plate, it's all right. Moving on. Frightening incident in Adelaide when a car drove through several fences last night, and today a reporter did his best. He tried to ask a resident about what had happened.
What actually happened last night?
Oh, I don't really know. I was asleep.
Maybe. Okay, he's undaunted. Our reporter kept trying.
Explain what the scene was like when you came out last night and saw it.
Exactly as it is.
Do you know anyone who saw the incident at all? Oh, good on you.
I like it.
Now, today the New South Wales greyhound industry begged the state government to overturn its proposed ban, one day before new legislation will be introduced to shut down the industry for good.
It's a desperate plea at the 11th hour. On the front page of today's Daily Telegraph, the New South Wales Greyhound Racing Industry Alliance begged for a hold on the ban in the hopes of cleaning up the sport.
3 more years to the industry would be enormous for us to get to a standard that we could prove to the New South Wales government that we can achieve the reform they required.
In a commitment to Premier Mike Baird, the industry outlined 4 promises should they be granted an extension. 1, to guarantee total life cycle management of all greyhounds. 2, a controlled breeding program limiting the number of racing pups in New South Wales to 2,000 a year. 3, zero tolerance for animal cruelty. And 4, safer guidelines to eliminate injury. The greyhound industry also pursued a Supreme Court bid against the Baird government today, challenging their legal basis to impose a ban at all.
A High Court judge has gone through it more than a year, over 150,000 pages of evidence, and drawn the conclusions he has.
This week, the Baird camp began to show signs of fracturing, with at least 3 Nationals MPs vowing to cross the floor to oppose the legislation. However, today, the Premier and
in mass graves. It is just not feasible.
Brenton Scott is the Chief Executive of the New South Wales Greyhound Breeders, Owners and Trainers Association, and he joins us now. Brenton, the Premier has said today that live baiting and cruelty to animals has continued to occur despite the massive expose last year. Your industry has been saying that the few bad apples have been eradicated and it's no longer going on. Who should we believe?
Well, clearly, I think the Premier said a little more than that today. The Premier has said that he rejects a set of 4 guarantees put to the government by the industry that said we will provide all of our greyhounds with total life cycle management. We will eradicate any form, hold a zero tolerance position to any form of animal cruelty. We will restrict our breeding to the exact number that is needed for New South Wales racing, and we will provide the safest possible racing.
Just listening to you now, do I take it that you are guaranteeing that every single pup that is raised will be raced?
No, we are putting to you that every greyhound that is bred will be subjected to total life cycle management.
What does
now,
that
some
mean?
of them,
What does that mean?
Well, in simple terms, I'll explain it. We would expect through changes in standards that the majority of greyhounds that are bred can race. Those that can't race will be rehomed, or it will be a requirement of the owners to retain those greyhounds throughout their life. To putting all of the resources that are needed to ensure that every greyhound gets the opportunity to live its natural life.
Brenton,
Now,
I've got to say, it's really hard to believe you when you talk, when it took an expose, it took a huge review to tell you that your industry is extremely cruel to animals and is systemically operating in a way that's just abhorrent. And now you're saying, oh yeah, we care about the full life cycle of an animal.
What this is about is a commitment to the future, and one where we can be held to account. Lifetime tracking of greyhounds did not occur before 2015. It can now. So everything I'm putting to the table can be measured and we can be held to account.
But Brenton,
That's a very
if this is
reasonable
a huge
position.
If this is a huge cultural problem, okay, so say we believe that this is your intent and this is what you'd like to happen. If it's such a huge cultural problem, how can you guarantee that all those people along the line, those people that we saw in those videos there, how can you guarantee that all of those are going to come on board and behave themselves?
Well, I think we can accept that that was a failure of regulation, a failure of supervision, and our model must go forward with world's best standard in terms of regulation, supervision and animal welfare standards. Industries can be reformed. Industries with bad behaviour in them can be corrected.
So is the Premier right in saying that live baiting has been going on since it was exposed last year?
No, he's incorrect in so much that there's one case but it's not another example of systemic issues within the industry.
All right, Brenton, we'll have to leave it there. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you.
All right, folks, it's finally happened. A US couple has given their child a name so dumb they've been forced to back out of it.
Otillie, Otillie, Ottilie. Nice name, but some find it utterly unpronounceable.
Otillie, Otillie.
No, I would have said Otillie. Oh God.
Otillie? I don't know, it's a weird name.
Harry Kessler put up with this for 3 months before giving up and changing her daughter's name to Margot. Not everyone gets a happy outcome though. Darling Mercado's name was cute as a 5-year-old, but it's led to some awkward moments as an adult.
My boss was on the phone with me, and after he hung up, he basically got accused of having an affair with me because he was calling me darling the whole entire time.
And were you having an affair?
No. No.
Oh, yeah, of course, right. Of course you weren't.
Celebrities have long been ridiculed for names they've bestowed on their offspring, from Kim and Kanye's daughter Northwest or son Saint West, to Spike Lee's daughter Satchel, Jamie Oliver's boy Buddy Bear, and Frank Zappa's daughter Moon Unit. So what can we do to protect unsuspecting defenceless babies from being called Bucket, Frogface or Captain Thunderfingers? Well, names can only be selected from a pre-approved list of 7,000.
That will make children's lives a lot easier because then you won't have a random name like my cousin, who is a boy and his name is Lovely George. Can you imagine growing up with a name called Lovely George?
So is it time for Australia to follow suit?
I need to meet that family.
Oh, I want to go to Christmas with Lovely George and Darling.
Wow.
They sound alike.
It would have been amazing. Ben Finn is from Birth, Deaths and Marriages, and he's seen names that will make your eyes bleed. He joins us now. Ben, so changing a baby name, wouldn't you want to get it right the first time? How often do people change their minds?
Look, I imagine a lot of parents, they haven't had a lot of sleep once they've just had a baby. Perhaps they've been celebrating a little too much. Who knows? But for whatever reason, there is quite a common occurrence of baby name regret.
You said for whatever reason. What are the reasons? You must have some sense of why people do this.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes grandparents get upset with the name that, they've given their child, and then they have to do an about face and come up with something else, or
My advice would be with the grandparents is just wait it out, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right.
Ben, is it sometimes more the spelling that it is the actual name? Like recently there was a Caitlin that had the Roman numeral 8 in there as part of the Kate bit. I mean, is that the problem? Have you seen things like that before?
Yes, and apparently there was a case in the States of L dash, like a hyphen, S-H-A, and that was Ladasha. So,
Ben, there has been a big gender-neutral push recently. Has that affected names? Like, are there girls out there called Trevor and boys out there called Fiona?
I don't know if I've seen too much of that, but I'm sure there's a boy named Sue in there, but other than that, I'm not sure.
Boy named Sue.
Ben, what about some of the rejected ones? What are some of the wacky names you've had to knock back?
Yeah, most of the time they're when adults want to change their names, and we've knocked back, things like when people want to call themselves King, or they want to call themselves Doctor. I have seen one person try to name themselves the Lord Jesus Christ. We then gave him a test and gave him some water and said, look, can you turn it to wine? He failed that test, so he was allowed to change it to Jesus. He couldn't have Lord, though, because that's a title.
On a personal note, Ben, I've never had a middle name, and I always felt... I
don't have a middle name.
I don't have a middle name.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
You've been ripped off.
I do. I have lots of them.
I was going to say, how many people don't have middle names?
Lots.
Really?
Lots and lots.
I thought I was always like the only one.
No, not having a middle name is the best thing about
I know,
my
but I always felt a little bit like I missed out.
Oh, I hated not having a middle name.
It's changed my life knowing me.
Now I regret that. I regret that because every time I have to fill out that immigration card, it just takes forever.
Ben, thank you very much for your time.
No worries. Thanks for that.
I love his theory that if it's free, just have heaps of it. Like, syphilis is free too. The middle name thing, though, I'm really surprised that you found that such a terrible
Well,
thing.
because I was just Carrie too, and everyone used to go, "Is that short for, Caroline?" No, it's just Carrie Bickmore.
And then everyone talks about their middle names and you'd be left out of that conversation.
That's why it was so great, because I remember when I was at school, everyone was getting teased about their middle name. Like, everyone was desperate to find out someone else's middle name.
Yeah, right.
And then they'd just hammer them for ages.
You went to a nasty school.
We had lots of people giving their names. One girl says she had the name Lucky, but she loved it because it was always a great icebreaker when she met people. And someone else said, try being called Suki. I get Sucky, Suki, Zuki. No one can ever say the name.
That's true.
Well, Senator Darren Hinch, I'm sure is absolutely fine with his name, and he did some media today. And Darren Hinch today was keen to show that he's a modern man, although the facade was quickly shattered.
So I came here by Uber today.
Oh yeah, Uber X or Uber Black?
I don't know what I am. I just ring. I've got a button thing, and I just hit the button thing on my app, and a car turns up.
Car turns up. There's Hedgeron sacks put on my hair. They drive me out to. That's Uber, isn't that Uber? I'm pretty sure that's Uber. Is that Uber?
Right, we're going to take a break. I'm going to fly away to the break. I've just discovered my outfit looks like I've got wings on.
You're watching The Project. It is, yeah.
Well, Prince fans can rest easy. The administrators of his estate have confirmed they're not planning to offload his famous Paisley Park mansion and recording studio, but they are trying to figure out what assets to sell to pay a $100 million US tax bill due in January. And Aussie workers appear to be putting work before well-being. New research has found most of us see work as a barrier to exercise. 43% of us spend up to 7 hours a day behind a desk, but nearly half of us say we would move more if our boss and colleagues were more supportive. Really, if your boss says, do you think you should maybe do some exercise? Do you think that would be received well?
I had that exact conversation today, actually, Carrie. And,
how did that go down?
I'm weighing up my options.
Now, local designers are calling for tougher laws to protect their creations from being ripped off without permission and mass-produced around the world. They say the internet makes it too hard to safeguard their ideas and they're losing their livelihoods to multinational corporations. Georgia Perry is a graphic designer who claims she's been ripped off by an international fashion giant. She joins us now. Name names, Georgia. Who's ripping you off?
Hi. A few people. Had my artwork appropriated, let's say, in recent weeks, and yeah, it's kind of come to a bit of a tipping point.
All right, so let's have a look at this, Georgia. I think we've got a picture of your design. That's the crossed fingers there, and this is Zara's.
Wow.
Or maybe it's the other way around. Who would know? I mean, I imagine you've spoken to them about this. What did they say?
I'm one of about 22 independent artists that have been affected with this particular retailer, and we've all reached out numerous times only to be told that they're gigantic, we're tiny, and don't really bother.
They can't just tell you that, surely.
Well, it's interesting, Georgia, because a friend of mine is in the same situation. She's a designer and the same thing's happening with a big company, and she said that legally it would cost her so much money to fight it, and they just put up the legal argument, and she's just like, oh, you win.
That's it. It's that kind of mentality of we're, a monolithic corporation, and as an independent designer and as an independent kind of a small business owner, it is very intimidating to be faced with something like that, and it's paralysing to kind of know what is the right course of action.
Right. So have you seen the castle? I mean, have a meeting in a garage. Get together.
Are you going to represent them for free?
Yeah, sure.
Georgia, these stories seem to pop up nearly every week where people are having their designs ripped off. Have you ever heard of a story where, the small guy does beat the big retail giant?
Well, unfortunately, cases like that are few and far between. now kind of banding together, and we've been lucky enough to have a team in LA that are willing to kind of work with us and represent us on a contingency basis.
And Waleed Ali, pro bono, I might add. He's weighed into it.
We could use Waleed for sure.
Boss,
So yeah,
if you're watching, I'll need 6 months off.
it's a good cause. It's a good cause.
Right, George, all our fingers are squared, crossed squarely and fairly for you, okay?
Thanks so much.
Yeah, and you'll be hearing from her lawyer very soon.
Oh,
About
no, I didn't mean that. Can we blur it out? Can we pixelate?
You don't have red nail polish on, you're fine.
Oh, thank God, I didn't go for that tonight.
Georgia, good luck with it. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks so much.
We also did reach out to Zara and Bershka's parent company, Inditex, but they didn't get back to us before the start of the show, so...
All right, stay right there. Alan Carr will be with us very soon.
Welcome back to the project.
Now, this guy is notoriously chatty, so it's a good thing he's our next guest.
Alan Carr has been dishing out sharp and sassy comedy for over 15 years.
We used to go to this boot and shoe museum every school trip. I got thrown out for opening up a cabinet, taking out a Marie Antoinette slip and asking whether they had it in a 6.
This BAFTA award-winning comic has taken the stand-up world by storm, performing at some of the biggest venues in the world.
It's all right, you. Jaundice.
He's not doing stand-up, he's getting cosy with celebs on his talk show, Alan Carr Chatty Man, getting them to spill their secrets while he mixes up their favourite drink.
Do you know they have Ariana Grande's at Starbucks now? Do you know that?
Is this a real thing?
Yeah.
Well, it actually isn't it?
I don't know, but let's just drink it.
And now, for the first time ever, he's yapping his way around Australia, returning to his stand-up roots to share his very unique take on life with us.
When I was backpacking in Bali, I paid 50p for this massage chair. I took my top off and she went, "You have breasts like lady."
Can you please welcome the chatty man, it's Alan Carr.
That's true. That's true. That is a true story. He said I had breasts like a lady.
Well, you know, Pete's
I do.
Pete earlier committed to doing the show with his top off. How about you join him and we...
No one
Next
wants
time.
to see that. No offence, love.
So, welcome to Australia. Is it true this is like your first trip to Australia and you're just going straight to the Sydney Opera House to...
No, I've been here before.
When did you last come here?
I was a backpacker and I was... yeah, all right, and I worked in Sydney in a cafe called Cafe 191. I want to see if it's still there. And it was like a gay cafe, and all the good-looking gays were at the front, and all the minging gays, like me, had to be round the back. And they called me the dick. They treat me like the Elephant Man. I thought, get back in there, dish pig. So it'd be nice for me to go back. I want to see if it's still there.
So Cafe 191, did you say?
Cafe 191.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone can hit us up on Twitter now in the next 5 minutes and let us know.
Yeah. Because I want to go back there, and the thing is, I was so skint, and I always wanted to go see something at the Sydney Opera House, and of course now I'm performing there, so it's lovely.
You've done very well, and you've also performed for the Queen.
Yeah.
Did you have to, when you're preparing your routine, did you have to clean things up a bit?
You've got to do all that.
Yeah.
But she laughed at my... Do you have the loyalty points over here when you go to the supermarket? I made a joke about that. She was killing herself laughing. How does she know? And she is miserable, so to get a laugh out of her... Because we had a big concert for her to say, "Oh, happy birthday, Queen," and then she puts earplugs in as people are singing and like that.
Oh,
So for her to get a smile, I mean, and she really laughed. I don't even know if you know about that, yeah.
So you go.
No, I just want to know what this joke about loyalty points was that she got into.
Oh, yeah, because someone did... what is it? Someone stole my card and spent 150 quid in the shop, so I went, but think of the points. And she was like, what? But then I met her again. I mean, met the Queen afterwards, so I didn't have a change of clothes. I was dressed as a woman in these slippers. And do you bow? Do you curtsy? I didn't know. So as she got there, I sort of did half and half.
With your women
like
breasts
this.
sticking out, ready to go.
What?
You had your women breasts and all.
Oh, I
know. But you say the stuff that you hated when you were younger is now like the trademark part of your comedy. I mean, is that like the ultimate way to avoid therapy? Just to talk about all that stuff that you hated?
Well, it isn't it? I hated my voice, being fat, and then goofy. And then when I was gay, I was like, enough already. Can you give me a break? And then, of course, my dad's like a football manager of the actual town I was growing up in. So can you imagine that? And then my granddad was a footballer, my dad was a footballer, and I was the only one who wasn't. And then my family thought there was a mix-up at the hospital. And that there's some hairdresser looking out at his son playing football going... Why? What's happened? So, but, you know, you realise that they're very similar, football and stand-up. You know, the nerves, and my dad would be in a miserable mood on the Friday night because he had a game the next day. The criticism you get, you know, you've got to get results and stuff. So it's very similar, and we get on so well now, you know, and I used him in the act to, you know, to take the mick and stuff, but yeah.
When did he realise that you weren't...
You'd go to these the school, and then they'd make you team captain of the football team, and I was like, no. I think you are. Then I'd be like, kick the ball over a fence, and you know, and they'd be, like I said, they would make me team captain and
Because your
stuff.
connection was like it's like the Newcastle United or something, isn't it? Like a Premier
Yeah,
League...
but they went down, didn't they? And he's like chief scout there, so like,
Oh,
so of course,
right.
yeah, I know.
So now you can look at him and say he's the failure.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. And the thing is, on Twitter, I don't mind people like slagging off my act, but I'm getting people slagging off my dad's team. I'm like, you know, don't drag him into. I get enough abuse as it is.
Now, on your show, you get to meet a lot of A-listers. That's
Yeah.
kind of the guest list. Have you ever had anyone on the show that was totally different to what you were expecting?
It's funny though, because you know when that man in Adelaide with the car drove through the fences, I was watching that man going, yep. No, I've had people like that on camera. Remind me of Ivana Trump when she was on. Yep. No.
What do you do when that happens? Do you just drink more, or...?
You just drink more. I mean, that's why you have canned laughter. This is live, you see. You've got a lovely audience, but, you know, you can just press the canned laughter button and like that.
Well, what's the strangest drink you've made for a celebrity?
Oh, strangest
Or strangest request for a drink, or...?
Well, I mean, the thing is with the drinks, we say to everyone on the team, when you're going on holiday, you have €5 max and you bring a drink back, and that's where all the drinks come from.